All right, so look, with all the economic turmoil that's going on in the world, I've noticed a lot of people talking about the struggle of losing the ability to plan for the future. And I wanted to talk about it for a second. So I totally get that, the struggle, the stress, the strain of you've been working hard, planning your life in a certain direction, in a certain trajectory. You've made certain decisions, you've made certain sacrifices to get yourself from point A to point B, and now it seems like all those sacrifices, all that work was for nothing. It seems like that, especially now that businesses are closing down, people are losing jobs, people are losing their careers, people are losing their 401ks and other money they may have had in the stock market. It seems like, man, I made a plan and now that plan's not working, and the way things are looking, it's impossible for me to come up with a new plan. I feel like that's where a lot of people are at. But I also want to talk about the other side of this. While there's some people who are distraught and upset about losing their ability to plan a future in this country, there are, I think, more people who never had the ability to plan a future in this country. You know what I mean? There's some people who had no plan to ever be able to get a nice house with a mortgage and all that. There's some people that I don't think ever had a real, genuine belief or conviction that they will be a homeowner. Or there are some people that were never going to be able to afford a new car, a new 2025 or new 2024. There are some people that were never going to be able to plan that trip around the world or vacation to this place and that, whatever, you know what I mean? There's some people who have been in poverty and been destitute and been out of options for so long that thinking about the future is a luxury. Being able to plan your life beyond next week, beyond next year, you know what I mean? That is a luxury. And for a lot of people, this is a new thing. For a lot of people, it's just like, oh, damn, I don't know what I'm going to do next week. But then there's some people who've been like, it's always been like that. I've always been only able to plan for today and plan for next week. And I think we'll see that as some people may lose their ability to plan for the future because they have been benefiting. They found a way to thrive in this system that is not collapsing. You know what I mean? Those people are like, well, shit. I found a way to navigate through the system and found a way for me to get a little piece of pie, to get a few crumbs while I'm in this system. But now I can't even find a way to get that. There's those people. But when you really think about it, the people who never had a plan, the people who didn't have space to exist in this society, the people who didn't have opportunities, the people who had all the doors closed to them in this society are going to have them open as these big businesses close, as these corporate empires collapse, as the overall society just seems to collapse. The people who always had to live in the moment of now and to extract resources from their immediate environment and have to just constantly play it by ear and pretty much freestyle it through the day, those type of people are going to be able to thrive as this thing collapses, because it's not like losing the ability to plan the future is nothing new for people in poverty, for people who are poor, because when you are poor, all you have is the moment of now. And so I just really want to point out there's a big drastic shift in perspective here. I get it. Somebody who's a doctor, who's a lawyer, who's a politician, who's a business owner, making a certain amount of money, I can see how somebody like that in that position looking at how the economy is like, fuck, man. What am I going to do? How am I going to continue on? But somebody who ain't never made no kind of money in a business, somebody who could never have an opportunity to get a high paying job, somebody who never had opportunity to have access to the higher levels of hierarchy in this society, those people, once Walmart's not a thing, once Target's not a thing, once the stock market's not a thing, once all these other big brands and businesses aren't a thing, once the pressure of society have changed, and I think those people who've always had to do without and had to live in the moment of now are going to find tons of opportunities and tons of ways to exist. They're going to know how to find the resources. They're going to have the peace of mind to think clearly, to be able to exist day to day. They're still going to be able to find joy, peace, and love despite the uncertainty of the environment, because they know and they realize that all they ever had was now, and that's enough. But for the people who are falling apart right now. The moment of now is not enough, and they don't realize how the ability to plan for the future is a luxury. And a lot of times that luxury comes at the expense of other people. The reason why people in a certain class, especially in America, can plan for the future, because there's a background, there's an underground network of corruption and conspiracy, and somebody had to lose time, value, and resources so other people can gain that time, value, and resources. And we forget that because we don't see it every day, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? You just don't get something for free. And I was just thinking about that today because I've been online, and like I said, I've been seeing a lot of people say, oh man, I'm losing my ability to plan for the future. And then I just got thinking to myself, man, I really couldn't plan for the future before this shit started popping up. And I think when you see people who are excited, who are talking about, man, I can't wait for this shit to be over. I'm ready for this shit to be done. I'm sick of this shit. Those people have always had to live in the moment of now, and have always had to finesse something with a little bit of resources they had available to them. And to people like that, I think a whole new world is opening up, and little ideas are starting to trickle in of how we can exist even better without having that pressure of the system just on you all day. You know what I mean? A lot of people in their mind feel like with the collapse of American capitalism, it creates an opportunity maybe to exist as a free human being on planet Earth. So that's my rant for the day. Peace.